Evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. We are going to get started. My name is Juliet Palin. I am the Community Engagement Specialist for the Department of Public Health Preparedness Program. Some of you I had the pleasure of meeting during the Black Captain Fest at the Dell, and I also was able to talk to a few of you this week. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Tonight is a special event just for Black captains to learn how to help your Block during a public health emergency. So we hope that you will learn a lot and be able to take resources home to help you and your neighbors. Before we get started, I have a few things to note. We will be recording this session and uploading it to YouTube, so anyone who couldn't attend can still receive information. We will also send it out to you all so you can share with any Block captain that couldn't make it. If you have questions throughout the session, please type them in the Q&A box. We'll answer all questions at the end, or we'll type the answers back to you when appropriate. If you are calling in and your questions are not answered, you can email us at publichealthpreparedness@phila.gov or leave us a message at 215-429-3016. If your question doesn't get answered, we will be following up in an email with the list of questions that were asked tonight, and we'll go through with the answers as well. All right. So Philly is a city of neighborhoods, and Block captains are so important to the community. Block captains, you are neighborhood leaders. You serve as the liaison between the community and city services. You build a vision for a clean and beautiful Block. We know you walk around and you're picking up trash on the ground, you're reporting dumping and abandoned cars and more. And lastly, no one knows your neighborhood better than you because you live there and you build relationships with your neighbors. We just wanted to highlight some of the things that you all do as for the residents of Philly. This list is limited in all that each of you do, and we could spend so much time talking about what you all do for your Block. But the health department thanks you for your tireless work you do within your Block and for the city. Today, we are all here to learn about the preparedness program and how your role as Block captains can make a huge difference in keeping people safe during a public health emergency by helping neighbors be prepared. The preparedness program helps communities prepare for public health emergencies by testing public health plans, training staff and volunteers to respond to emergencies. We communicate with the public about how to stay safe and healthy, as well as partner with other agencies and community groups to help communities be prepared for emergencies. We work with community and faith-based organizations, city and healthcare agencies, as well as people who are most at risk for facing public health emergencies. So oftentimes those people look like older adults, people with chronic illnesses, people who live in certain areas that are more susceptible to an emergency. We use maps like the one on the screen you'll see below that help identify neighborhoods around the city that are most at risk during a public health emergency. We find ways to help residents prepare for those emergencies, but we also respond during an emergency. And so that's just a little bit about our program. And there are a number of ways in which we work with the community and we can work with you and your Block. The first one is we conduct trainings and presentations like the one we're doing today, and they can be virtual, recorded, or in person. Over the summer, we did trainings at a number of older adult centers on ways to stay cool during a heat event. And we have a training coming up this fall, so be on the lookout. It'll be about respiratory health, and that will have interpretation services to a number of different languages. If you have a small group in your community that you think would benefit from a presentation, you can definitely reach out to us. We also do tabling. Many of you may have seen me and my partner at the Black Captain Fest. We were the ones with the spin wheel giving out prizes. We do tabling events at community events so residents can have a trustworthy and reliable place to ask questions and get vital information. We also can attend community meetings. We can mail you educational materials like the ones that you got last week, and we can mail them to you in bulk so you can hand out materials to your neighbors to help educate the neighbors on health emergencies. We can translate those materials as well upon request, and we'll show you how you can make requests outside of email and calling us. We also do canvassing to get to know communities and offer information in person. And then lastly, we connect through our community response partner network, a network that many of you are already signed up for to receive critical information on public health emergencies to share with your networks and your residents and people on the block. And that this is not just limited to block captains. We can have residents also sign up for this. So you may be wondering what's categorized as a public health emergency. A few emergencies that we plan, prepare for, and respond to seasonally are listed here on the screen. The first one is extreme heat events, then followed by severe storms with flooding, infectious disease outbreaks like COVID-19, seasonal flu, and Hep A. And so block captains, you already know that you're important to your block, but you're also important during a public health emergency. Your role as a block captain can make a huge difference in keeping people safe during public health emergencies by knowing who is at risk and how to contact them, by walking those at-risk neighbors through making a plan to prepare for emergencies. And we'll talk a little bit further about how you can prepare these plans. You also make contact with your neighbors during emergency if it's safe, but you can also connect after. And then lastly, by staying connected with us, the Department of Public Health, we can help you stay informed and make sure you and your neighbors are getting the most up-to-date information and that you are prepared during an emergency. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the seasonal topics that we have. We'll go through 4 of them that we focus on. And again, you can feel free to put any questions that you have in the chat, and we'll either answer them throughout or we'll take time at the end to answer these questions. So the first emergency that we respond to and prepare for is a heat event. During the summer, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, we respond to extreme heat events. We all know that the city is getting hotter. This past summer was so hot. We had like record-breaking hot days. And so this is due to climate change that's happening all over, but in the city. This map below, you'll see is a map of the city, and you'll see neighborhoods that are in red. And those neighborhoods in red on warm days can be 22 degrees hotter than the areas that are in blue. And so our program, we identify those areas with a high heat vulnerability index. Some of those areas are Cobbs Creek, Overbrook, Point Breeze, Strawberry Mansion, Hartranft, and Hunting Park. So what is important for you as block captains, especially for those who are living in those heat vulnerable neighborhoods, is knowing who is most at risk of getting a heat related illness in your neighborhood. And so those people who are most at risk would be people who don't have air conditioning, people who live alone who aren't getting people to check on them, people who are homebound, so they're not able to leave their house, and so they're not getting away from the heat, and then older adults. During a heat event, you can use the list that we provided you in the mail on the newsletter. That's really important to make safe contact with those at-risk individuals that I just talked about. It's important for the Black Captains to know those at-risk individuals so you can check on them in the summer during heat events and make sure that they're using air conditioning if they have it. They're drinking plenty of water or fluids throughout the day. They're avoiding physical activity, wearing light clothing. They know the signs of heat-related illness, as well as know when and how to get help. So during the extreme heat events, some resources that the city offers, and we'll send you these slides with this information so you guys can have it on hand and pass it along. But some resources that the city offers are cooling centers at libraries, rec centers, and spray grounds. Knowing where those are in your neighborhood is important. So for those who don't have air, you can point them to utilize those city services. Also, we know that summer is hot, but air is not free. So letting your blocks know about utility assistance programs. And I have 3 listed here on the PowerPoint. The first is LIHEAP, and I'll read the numbers aloud for those who are on the phone. LIHEAP's program, you can call 215-560-7226. There's also PICO Customer Assistance Program, and that number is 1-800-774-7040. And the last program is USEF, and their number is 215-814-6837. And their program, they have an open door program that encompasses all benefits. And so you should have seen that in the packet that you received from a flyer about their program. And I just want to note that these programs are not just limited to the summer. We're the preparedness program, right? So we want you to prepare your neighborhood. Winter is coming, and you can help your neighbors prepare for winter by sharing this information about these utility assistance programs, so that when they start applying, if they start applying by November, by the time winter comes, they're ready and have the resources, and their utilities are being paid for so that they can use their heat. And we also have flyers on the USEF program. So if you'd like them mailed out to you, we're also able to do that. And also a good resource is the PCA, the Philadelphia Corporation for Aging. They have a number of different resources and assistance programs available all year round. During the summer, they have a heat line that activates and provides tips for staying cool during the summer. And that PCA number is 215-765-9040. And lastly, you can visit bit.ly/Philly Heat Index and search your address to find resources to help during those extreme heat events during the summer. You can also see if people on your street are most at risk for experiencing heat-related illnesses during very hot weather by putting your address on the city map. I'm just going to stop really quick to make sure there's no questions in the chat. This next flyer is USEF, something that you all received. And again, like I said, we can make copies, and it talks about the number of assistance programs that USEF has. Feel free to scan the QR code at this time. We'll also send them digitally to you, but if you would like copies for your neighbors, you can send us an email or give us a call, or I'll show you how to order these through our website in a few slides. And so again, this is the utility assistance with USAF. The next resource that the city has is neighborhood energy centers, and they're a really good source for help with conserving energy, utility assistance, energy counseling. They also have resources on home weatherization and HVAC repair year-round. Winter is coming, and they can help with heat system repair services. You're going to hear me say prepare a lot because we are the preparedness program, but it's also so important to be prepared before an emergency happens. And so the next emergency we're going to focus on is winter storms. Climate change is causing more precipitation and rain or snowfall and more storms. Philadelphia is surrounded by rivers and is considered a coastal city, even though we don't have any beaches. Because of this, we are at risk of flooding. There are some areas like Eastwick that are closer to the Delaware River that may experience more flooding than those inland. But also flooding isn't just limited to storms. Things like water main breaks can cause flooding. There was one in North Philly in June that was unexpected. So it's important to be prepared for events like flooding. And so as a block captain, you can help your neighbors put together disaster supply kits. These are really helpful. They contain things like food supply and first aid kits, flashlights and batteries, cell phone chargers, hygienes, and then important documents like your deeds, insurance policies, medical information, emergency contact information. You don't realize how important it is to have one of these until you need it. This can give some peace of mind during a disaster if you know everything is in one place. Helping neighbors prepare these disaster kits is really helpful. If you live in an area like Eastwick that's susceptible to flooding, make sure your neighbors also talk to their insurance companies about flood insurance. Okay, so what you can do during a flood to help your neighbors out is sign up for Ready Philadelphia. It helps ensure your safety and awareness during any emergency. And so you can text Ready Phila to 888-777 and can get emergency alerts to your phone, or you can visit www.phila.gov/ready and sign up for their email alerts. You can also follow the public health page at PHL Public Health, PHLHLTH, that's Public Health Prepare, and at Phila OEM on social media. And they post about different emergencies that are happening throughout the city. So if you're more social media tech savvy, you can follow those pages to stay up to date. If you're instructed to stay in your home during a flood and storm, use an emergency kit that we just talked about. And then if you're instructed to stay in your home, shelters will be if you're instructed to leave, shelters will be announced publicly by the mayor and the Office of Emergency Management. PDPH monitors disease and helps people maintain their medical conditions at these shelters.
You do have a couple questions, Juliet.
Yep.
One, is flood insurance available in Philadelphia?
So you can actually contact the neighborhood energy centers and find out what resources they have for flood insurance for your homes.
And we're I'm still catching up on questions, but about heat, an individual asked that a problem comes when someone has no air conditioning and is unable to get out of their house. So what are some options of what we can do to help them?
Yeah, so the I'm going to go back to that PCA line. The Philadelphia Corporation of Aging Heat Line, they can do a home assessment to see what things that the home might need in case of emergency if a person is unable to leave. And so you can write down this number, 215-765-9040, for assistance if someone is homebound and unable to leave without air conditioning. Okay. Thank you, Jay. So we're going to just move on to the last public health emergency that we'll go over, and that's infectious disease. We've heard about this a lot over the last 2 years. Infectious disease outbreaks. We respond to like seasonal flu, COVID-19, Hep A, and monkeypox. As Block captains, it's important to be informed enough to steer people to the correct resources. In this case, the Philadelphia Department of Public Health pages that I'll share with you have more info on flu and COVID and monkeypox. You can also send requests for printed materials or digital materials to us so that you can pass out that information to your neighbors. There's a lot of information we have and resources that we'd be happy to send to you to help people understand what's happening during infectious disease outbreaks. As a Block captain, being connected with the Department of Health will allow for trusted messages and resources that the city offers, like testing and vaccine clinics and other resources. We know that people get their information from a lot of places, so having the connection between Block captains and the Public Health Department is very beneficial. And so the first one, seasonal flu, is one of the most common respiratory infections, and we are entering flu seasons. So knowing what to do when someone has the flu, like washing your hands, is good, but prevention is key. You can prevent the flu by getting vaccinated. And so flu vaccines are designed to protect against influenza viruses. And so right now we're entering flu season, so the best time to get these vaccines are September and October. You can get a flu shot you can tell your neighbors to get a flu shot from your healthcare provider, or walk into the flu shots that are available at the city centers. And no insurance is needed if you are using city health centers. And so to help neighbors find a flu clinic near them, you can provide the bit.ly of bit.ly/FLU PHL, and the FLU, capital P, capital H, and capital L, to find a clinic near you in the neighborhood and to learn more about flu vaccines. During the flu season, COVID-19 is still a concern and can lead to respiratory illnesses that can make some people sick. Both viruses are passed from person to person in similar ways and have similar symptoms. It is important to get both a COVID booster and your annual flu shot to keep yourself and others safe. In our fall public health trainings at the end of October, we're going to talk more about these respiratory illnesses and answer questions for the community. So you can let your neighbors know that there is a fall public health webinar coming up at the end of October about COVID-19 and flu. But to help neighbors prepare by finding a primary care doctor or care provider they trust, you can send them to www.phila.gov/primary-care to find a primary care doctor near you to get the vaccine, or if you have a resident who is feeling ill. It is expected that COVID-19 viruses and all viruses will mutate and change over time, right? This is why the flu vaccine is updated each year to protect you from types of flu viruses expected to be most common in that season. So COVID-19 vaccines are also likely to become routine part of our seasonal healthcare, similar to the annual flu. So neighbors may have heard about the COVID booster, bivalent COVID-19 vaccines are also known as the updated booster. It contains a combination of the original booster with updated protection against the types of COVID-19 that are most contagious. And so the bivalent booster will help boost your immune system and protect you from getting severely sick or passing the virus to others who get severely sick or could even die. And so we can provide you with educational materials about the new vaccine to send out to your neighbors to help them make informed decisions about receiving the booster. Also, you can share with them where to find a clinic. You can find Philadelphia COVID vaccine clinics at phila.gov/vaccine. And the city does provide free vaccine at the city health centers and pop-up clinics, even if you don't have insurance. And as we tried to get on the other side of COVID, we now have monkeypox. Philadelphia Public Health monkeypox page has gone live, and you can visit it at phila.gov/monkeypox. This page has all the information needed to learn about the current outbreak. Our office is currently working to reach people most at risk to offer the vaccine, testing, and educational resources on containment and transmission. And again, if your neighborhood would like materials on this, we can send you information so that everyone in the city is informed about what's going on with these infectious diseases. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how you can find these resources shortly, but I'm just going to plug. You can email us at publichealthpreparedness@phila.gov or give us a call, and we can provide you with materials so that everyone is informed about what's going on with these infectious diseases. Okay, so what's next here is our seasonal programming. And each season, we will provide education campaigns to make sure the most up-to-date information reaches everyone every season, right? So winter, we'll go over severe storms and utility assistance. Summer, we'll go over heat emergencies and utility assistance. Spring, we'll go over flooding and mosquitoes and tick-borne illnesses. And fall is here. And like I said, we're going to be having a public virtual event on respiratory illness, about COVID-19, seasonal flu, the end of October, so people can ask questions that they have with public health professionals. There are a number of ways that your block can stay informed about public health emergencies through trainings and presentations like this, resource tabling at events that your block might be having. If you have community meetings or you are part of an organization that has community meetings, we can come to those. Again, providing educational materials like brochures and flyers, frequently asked questions, anything that will help educate the community about what's going on for a public health emergency so that they can prepare. We also do canvassing and then our community response networks. And so on our next slide, we have some resources for you as block captains to get the information that you need. And so the first one is for material requests. You can always send us an email or give us a call, but if you prefer to do it online, you can make material requests to get brochures and flyers and newsletters, FAQs at bit.ly/P, H, P, M, Materials, and that's going to be bit.ly capital PHP materials. And there will be a form that you'll fill out to request materials, and we can mail them to you. If you'd like digital copies, we can also send them to you through email. You can also get information from our health information portal for planning for emergencies in a number of different languages. And that bit.ly website is bit.ly/capital P, capital H, capital P guidance. And you'll be able to fill out that form and get planning for emergency information in a number of different languages. And then lastly, if your block or community is having an event, you would like us to have a resource table with materials and giveaways, or if you would like us to have a training or presentation, you can email us at publichealthpreparedness@phila.gov or leave a message at 215-429-3016. And so if you haven't done so yet, it's time to sign up for the Ready Philadelphia, part of the Philadelphia OEM. You can send them a text to Ready Phila to 888-777. We also have these palm cards available. So if you'd like to send them to your neighbors so that they can get text alerts, this is all free. And we can send you palm cards to give out to your neighbors. And then to help you keep your block informed, again, all of you should be part of the Community Response Partner Network, and it shares critical information during a public health emergency with family, neighbors, and friends. Many of you, like I said, have already signed up, but you can share this with your neighbors so that they can sign up and get messages like newsletters, updates on winter storms or heat warnings, infectious diseases and what's going on to their phones or to their email. And so you can sign up with the Crippen. You can either send us an email or you can use the bit.ly/PHL community response, and that will send you to a link to sign up for the Community Response Network. So block captains, you all do so much for residents of Philadelphia and can make a huge difference in keeping people safe during a public health emergency by helping neighbors be prepared and informed with information from the public health department, by knowing who's at risk and how to connect with them in your neighborhood, walking them through making a plan to prepare before a disaster happens, making contact with them during an emergency or after, whichever is the safest. And then again, providing them with information from the Department of Public Health so that they can stay informed and know and be prepared for a public health emergency. So I'm going to leave some time for questions, see what questions you have in the chat. We will also utilize the raising your hand. So if you raise your hand and have a question, we will unmute you and answer that question for you.
We have a couple questions in the chat that I'll read to you, Juliet. One block captain asked or stated that many of the resources for utility and weatherproofing are income-based and have prohibitive barriers. Are there other resources that are not income-based that we know of?
We can definitely look into sending you some more resources outside of the ones that we have talked about, because yes, like you said, they are income-based. So we have this question down. When we send out an email in the at the end of the night or tomorrow with the questions that everyone is asking, we'll provide you with some more resources that you can send to your neighbors that are not income-based.
One of our colleagues also jumped in and stated that Benephilly might not be income-based, but we will confirm that and then make sure those resources are sent out. We have another question about a block captain stated that the alley behind their block is filled with trash and extremely hard to walk through and exit in case of an emergency if someone has to leave their home. There's no gates or locks, and there's a lot of elderly residents who are disabled that aren't able to come out and help address that alleyway. Is that something that preparedness can help with?
So in terms of the blocking of the alleyway, I would think that would be a streets issue. And you can reach out to them through 311, putting a report about dumping that's happening within the alleyway in order to get that trash out of that area.
And similarly, it looks like there's a question about how to advocate for speed bumps on your block.
Yeah, so that's also from the streets department. And we can send you, with these questions, we'll send you the contact information or websites that you can go to put in information about speed bumps and things of that nature. I do know that speed bumps, it has to be a two-way street in order for it to be put into your block. So if you do have a two-way street, then you can fill out that information for the speed bump, but we'll put links to contact resources for these questions that are outside of our department.
I have two more, and then for the folks with their hands raised, I will go ahead and unmute you in a moment. How can we access this presentation on YouTube? I know we will send out the link to you. You'll also be able to find it on the Public Health's YouTube page within a week, most likely.
Yep.
And then, do we have an emergency shelter?
In terms of, so if an emergency does happen, the city, the mayor, and the Office of Emergency Management will let you know where that emergency center will be. And so if you're following, like I said, to get that OEM text alert, Ready Philadelphia, if you sign up for those, you can get those text alerts. So when an emergency does happen, you know what shelters are that you should be going to.
Thank you. That seems, I will go back through and make sure I didn't miss any, but I will start to unmute folks so that they can ask their questions aloud. One moment. Leonard, I think I've unmuted you.
Yes. My name is Leonard Rett. I am the block captain for the 200 and 300 block of East Albina Street in North Philadelphia, which runs between Rising Sun Avenue and C Street. Our block is unique in it's a long block. There's no break in between the 200 and the 300 block. The issue that we have is on one side of our block, the steps are extremely difficult to navigate. And that's one of the issues that we have in an event of emergency. I guess the speed of getting somebody over there to help someone who may not be able to get out. And I do have a couple of residents on my block who fit that description. So is there a way that maybe information can be shared of a particular resident's situation that can prompt maybe a faster response, or is it just the same thing for everybody in reference to that, into reference to emergency situation?
So in terms of the steps on your block, I would believe that would be also a part of the streets department to come out and look at that. We can look into this question and see if we can get you a quick response. But right now I want to forward this towards the streets department in terms of.
Well, it's not an issue with damage steps. It's the number of steps.
So the number of steps that would help.
Right, like on one side, we have houses that have 3 small steps and then another 3 steps near in. On the opposite side of the street, these houses have 12 to 13 steps. So that's what I mean by the difference. It's nothing to do with damage. It's just that the ability to get them in and out rather quickly is much more difficult because you have a higher steps and more of them.
Okay, yeah, so I believe that there is a registry for individuals who may need more support during an evacuation or an emergency. So we can look into what that registration would be and put that in the list of responses when we get back to you all.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Jay, you can unmute the next person.
Yep, I believe I unmuted PJ.
Yes. I'm Patricia Johnson, and I'm the block captain of the 5700 block of North 17th Street. That's between Chew and Grange and North, I guess it would be considered Oak Lane or North Philadelphia. And my question is, during the snow time periods, we have a lot of elderly people on this block. In fact, the majority of the block is elderly people. And I know that they want to fine you for not having your walkway shoveled or whatever. We not only have regular sidewalks, but we have walkways leading up from the sidewalk to our homes, which is about, maybe I say 10 feet up to the actual doorsteps. So my question is there any kind of assistance that we can, as seniors, you can get for help with shoveling and things of that nature as a public service in the city?
So in terms of shoveling and assistance during a snowstorm.
Yeah.
So there is, we can actually forward you a link to part of the Plan Access and Functional Needs Emergency Preparedness. And so that would be with the Office of Emergency Management. And so they have plans and procedures that can help during an emergency if there's snow and things on the ground. But we can also look into assistance, if there is assistance available for those who are unable to shovel their neighborhood or shovel their sidewalks.
Yes, right now we're kind of like dependent on if a young person comes by and rings the doorbell, and to get paid to shovel, if they happen to come by. But these people are really not able to go out and shovel themselves. And my next door neighbor's on oxygen, different kinds of things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we will, I'm going to add that to our list so we can give you the right information of who you can contact, and maybe some email links and some contact information of who could be able to come out and shovel or salt your sidewalks during a snowstorm.
Okay, and I have one more question I want to ask. Mm-hmm. These driveways, these homes and all are old, and I know that several people have had a collapse from the main drain from their houses underground, going out into the middle of the drive, the main, I guess, the pipeline under the driveway, under the driveways in the houses. I guess they would be the back drives. So what I want to know, is that a responsibility? Is that something that seniors can get aid with? Is that something that they would have to come out of their pocket to fix?
So that would definitely be a 311 question in terms
311?
of, yes, okay. Yep. So if you have a question about like structures in your neighborhood, you can contact 311 and put in a report so that someone can come out and check out the situation of your street or the road or whatever is messed up, and then they will be able to assess what's going on with that. So again, that's 311. You can give them a call, or you can also go to phila.gov and search 311, and you can fill out a report.
Okay, thank you so much.
Jay, you can let the next raised hand. We do see that there are a few raised hands. So if you have questions and are able to, if you're not on the phone and you're able to put them in the question and answers, then we can also write them down and provide you again with that list of questions and answers that we'll do after the session, so you guys can see what questions are being asked and the answers that we'll provide with them.
Call our name.
Yep, sorry. I know someone was unmuted. You can.
So my name is Cherie Wilkins. I'm the block captain of 46th Street between Fairmont and Aspen Street in West, on the north side of West Philly. I'm just concerned about, I signed into the Zoom meeting because I thought I could ask different questions, like why I don't receive any resources about what goes on in the community. Like the event you just had in the park, I didn't receive any information, but people who are not even block captain received tickets to attend. And I did receive the packet that you sent. That's how I'm able to sign in. And I just have different questions, like far as the speed bumps, you answered that. We need to get more information about that. We definitely need that. Also, just to be able to receive resources that's going on, or what resources available to, like all in general, like how can I sign up a co-captain? I have someone that I would like to co-captain with me, that has been helping me do different things on the block. We clean the block together. Sometimes she does it herself if I'm not available. So we need to find out more information about that and make sure that, find out also if I can receive more information. I haven't received anything but your packet.
Yeah, so in terms of the block captain information, I would direct you to Philadelphia More Beautiful Committee, that's PMBC, and they are in charge of the block captains, or in charge of providing like supplies and stuff. And so I can give you that number. It's 215-685-3971. And so during like cleanups and things like that, they can provide you with supplies for that. And they can help you with the co-captain and helping someone become a co-captain. They also have a request on their website. If you go to phila.gov and type in block captain, it should come up as a Philadelphia More Beautiful Committee. And I'll write all this down because I know I'm saying a lot, but there's a form there where you can fill out for residents who express wanting to be a block captain. And then your question in terms of wanting more resources, you can definitely come through us, and you can either email us or use some of the sites that we said to get more materials. So if it's something that's involved with the Department of Public Health, we can provide you with resources. But if you have questions that you individually want to ask, if we have resources or could connect you with particular resources, you can send us an email at Public Health Preparedness at phila.gov. It's the number that's on, or the email that's on the screen here. And we can connect you with people who, or with the resources that you need. If it's outside of us. Yep.
So I would be able to speak to people or speak to this number about just being able to make sure I'm on the mailing list for any other types of events
So for
like
that,
what you have today?
yeah, so for this was particularly just for our department, the Department of Public Health Preparedness Program. So in terms of information about block captains, I would call that Philadelphia More Beautiful Committee, and make sure that they have all of your information, that your address and everything is correct for that information.
And you will put the information about speed bumps and just other
Yeah,
things
we'll
that.
put, all the questions that were asked about speed bumps and things that had to do with streets. We'll put all the resource information from the streets department in the email that we send out to you. It'll be a question and answers document.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. I think, Jay, we have time for about one more question. We want to be mindful of everyone's time. We thank you all so much for coming out and listening to our presentation and asking your questions. If you did not get a chance to ask a question, we will, if you can put it in the chat or you can send us an email, give us a call. We will try and answer. If it's not our department, we'll try and connect you with the correct department in order to help you make sure your block is together. So Jay, we have time for one more question.
I did unmute a participant, Lucretia. Sorry if I mispronounced that.
Yes, you actually are right on target. Good evening. My name is Lucretia Moy. I'm the block captain in the 1100 block of Atwood Road. And so in one, I want to say thank you for providing this information to us so that we can share it with other residents on the block. So I think this is definitely very important and vital information. So my response and question is around preparedness, particularly around these disaster supply kits that are suggested. And so has there been any consideration or the ability for you all to provide something, even starting with the block captains, that we can utilize? And one of my targets here with what you've just put up is something like that first aid kit. Is that something that is even in consideration to maybe provide that to the block captains, that we can then have that as a availability, or even something along the line like flashlights and batteries, that's sort of something that we can utilize or that can be distributed amongst the residents of the block?
We can definitely look into that, but in terms of like first aid kits, you can just have bandages and antiseptic. So we can talk to you about what you could put in your first aid kits or where you can find them. And it doesn't have to be anything fancy. Like these are things that you probably have at home in a drawer in your bathroom, that it's best to have all in one place. So when something like a disaster does happen, you know where to find it. So we can provide you with a list on like this list here, so you can have it to make sure that you are prepared. But I'll look into where you might be able to get like first aid kits and things like that. But most of these items here, most people have at their home, but if not, you can also go through the Red Cross, who provides these type of disaster kits.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's a good resource right there. Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Thank you all so much for again listening to our presentation, and for those whose questions were not answered, again, please feel free to reach out to us with your questions and send us an email or give us a call at 429-3016. We know that you all put a lot of work into your block, and resources is the most helpful way for you to help your neighbors. So if we can help you with resources, we will try to do so. So again, thank you so much for listening, and we hope that you have a safe evening. And again, we'll send you out different materials that we talked about today. We will also send you these question and answers. So if you can get your questions in that weren't asked, we have a few more minutes, so you can just put them in the chat and we'll add them to our list to send out to you all. So thank you all for attending. And again, hope you have a safe and good night.